This is the complete career breakdown of Yuji Nishida, a 186cm left-handed opposite hitter from Japan who somehow jumps higher than guys 15 centimeters taller than him and hits a volleyball harder than most people can throw one. He's 26. He's already won a V.League championship, broken serving records, stacked up individual awards at the highest level, married the captain of Japan's women's national team, and kicked off a real GOAT debate across the volleyball world. Now, whether you think he actually deserves that title, or whether you think the hype went a little too far, it doesn't really matter. You can't talk about modern volleyball without bringing up Yuji Nishida. So we're going through his entire career, start to finish, and you can decide for yourself where he belongs. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. We do breakdowns like this all the time. Alright, let's get into it. Where it all started. Yuji Nishida was born January 30th, 2000 in Inabe City, Mie Prefecture, Japan. He's got an older sister, Saki, 8 years older, and an older brother, Keigo, 6 years older. It was his sister who pulled him into volleyball. He watched her play as a little kid, and that was it. He was hooked. According to the FIVB's profile on him, he picked up the sport at 4 years old, and in his own words, quote, "I've been playing volleyball since I was 4 years old, and it was my siblings who influenced me. In the first grade of elementary school, I learned how to spike." Most kids that age are still trying to figure out Velcro. Nishida was learning how to spike a volleyball. And by the time he hit 6th grade, he was already captaining his team, leading them to the President's Cup of Mie Prefecture Club. That comes from the Red Bull athlete profile, by the way. One more thing about his early years. He apparently had a big growth spurt during his first year of middle school. And when you combine that with the fact that he'd already been training for close to a decade, you get this weird and kind of unfair advantage. A kid with 10 years of volleyball instincts packed into a body that's still growing and getting more explosive every month. Going pro at 17. So most volleyball players go pro after college. Some do it after high school. Nishida didn't wait for either. In October 2017, at just 17, he signed with JTEKT Stings in Japan's V.League. And this wasn't a come sit on the bench and learn deal. According to Red Bull's profile, he walked straight into the starting six. 17 years old, starting lineup, one of the strongest volleyball leagues in Asia. That alone should tell you what kind of talent we're dealing with. But what happened next is what really made people sit up and pay attention. National team debut and the 2019 explosion. May 2018. Nishida gets called up to the senior national team for the very first FIVB Volleyball Nations League. He's 18 years and 4 months old, reportedly the youngest player ever to debut for Ryujin Nippon. That's what they call Japan's men's national team. He went on to play 12 matches that first VNL season. Just think about that timeline for a second. Pro at 17, national team at 18, and then at 19, everything blows up. June 2019, during the VNL, Nishida hit 7 aces in a single game against Bulgaria. 7. That was a VNL serving record. And keep in mind, this is a 19-year-old doing this to a senior international squad. A few months later, the 2019 FIVB World Cup happens. Hosted in Japan, home crowd, home tournament. And Nishida absolutely shows up. Japan finishes 4th. That was their first top 4 finish in 28 years, all the way back to 1991. Nishida ends up as the 3rd highest scorer of the whole tournament. The individual awards? Named to the Dream Team as Best Opposite, also won Best Server. And yeah, he was 19 when all of this happened. That was the turning point. A left-handed teenager from Mie Prefecture was outscoring and outserving guys who'd been on the international circuit for years. And he was doing it grinning ear to ear, fist pumping after every ace. People couldn't look away. The physical freak factor. Okay, so let's get into what makes Nishida so different physically, because this is where the whole GOAT conversation really starts to make sense. He's 186 centimeters, roughly 6'1". For an opposite hitter, that's small. Most top opposites stand somewhere between 195 and 205 centimeters. So Nishida is giving up 9 to 19 centimeters in height to the guys across the net. So how does he compete with them? Simple, he outjumps everybody. Spike reach, 346 centimeters. Standing reach, 240 centimeters. Do the math, and his vertical jump comes out to roughly 106 to 110 centimeters. That's about 43 inches off the ground. At 186 centimeters tall, He's making contact with the ball at the same height as guys who are 200 centimeters, but can't get off the floor the way he can. And it's not just the jumping. His serves have been clocked at over 120 kilometers per hour. That kind of power coming from a left hand, that's a nightmare to receive. And the left-handedness, by the way, is a huge part of why he's so effective. Left-handed opposites are rare at the top level. When you're swinging from the right side of the court with your left hand, the ball comes off at angles that blockers just aren't used to reading. It throws off their timing, their positioning, their footwork. The whole defensive system has to adjust, and by the time it does, the ball is already on the floor. The volleyball community calls him the monster of the vertical jump. Honestly, look at the numbers. That nickname fits. The V.League Championship. After the 2019 World Cup, Nishida went back to JTEKT Stings for the 2019 to 2020 V.League season. And this is where he showed he could do it at the club level too, not just wearing a national team jersey. JTEKT had never won the V.League Championship before. That season, they made the final. 5 sets against Panasonic Panthers. Score 17-25, 25-22, 25-22, 26-28, 15-10. They dropped the first set, fought back, and won it in 5. Nishida scored 36 points in that final. 36. He took home league MVP and best opposite spiker. And during his time at JTEKT, he was playing alongside Mie Prefecture, the legendary Bulgarian opposite. Having a guy like that next to you doesn't hurt, but 36 points in a final is 36 points in a final, regardless of who's on your team. Across his time at JTEKT, he also picked up Best Server awards, got named to the V.League Best 6, and earned a record award. The kid who went pro at 17 was a league champion at 20. Tokyo Olympics and the move to Italy. Next up, the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, which actually happened in 2021, but you already know that. This was Nishida's first Olympic experience. Japan finished 7th. Now, 7th doesn't exactly sound like a parade-worthy result, but it was their best Olympic finish in 29 years. For a program that had been rebuilding for a long time, that was real progress. And Nishida was one of the main reasons they got there. After Tokyo, he did something most Japanese players don't. He left Japan. He signed with Volley Calippo in Italy's SuperLega for the 2021 to 2022 season. If you know anything about European club volleyball, you know that Italy is a different animal. The league is one of the toughest in the world, more physical, faster, and you're going against the best club rosters on the planet week in, week out. Nishida won MVP of the match 3 separate times that season, even while dealing with injuries. The Italian experience was clearly about growth, testing himself against different competition, seeing where he stacked up outside of Japan. He went back to JTEKT Stings for the 2022 to 2023 season after that year abroad, then made the move to Panasonic Panthers in 2023. The VNL years, 2022, 2023, 2024. If the 2019 World Cup introduced Nishida to the world, the VNL seasons from 2022 to 2024 are where he locked in his spot among the best players on the planet. 2022 VNL. His numbers were wild. In the first round alone, he scored 201 points, highest on the Japanese team, 3rd highest in the whole tournament. That 201 broke down to 162 attacks, 10 blocks, 29 aces. Then, on June 24, 2022, in a full 5-set match against Italy, he put up 28 points and Japan won. That pushed them into the quarterfinals. 2023 VNL. Japan takes bronze after beating Slovenia in the 3rd place match. Another step forward. And then 2024. This was the year. Japan made it all the way to the VNL final. They went up against France, the reigning Olympic champions. Lost in 4 sets, 23-25, 25-18, 23-25, 23-25. But that silver medal? Japan's first VNL silver in 47 years. 47. Let that sink in for a second. Nishida was right at the center of that run. Now, quick but important clarification. Some sources out there, including Red Bull's own athlete profile, kind of make it sound like Japan won a silver medal at the 2024 Paris Olympics. That's wrong. Japan finished 7th at the Paris Olympics after losing in the quarterfinals to Italy. The silver was from the VNL. 2 different tournaments, 2 very different outcomes. I just want to be straight about that. What Nishida did do at the Paris Olympics was still wild though. Against Argentina, he recorded 5 aces in the first set alone. 5 aces in one set. That kind of serving just takes the life out of the other team before the match has really even started. The power couple. Let's talk about Nishida off the court, because his personal life has become almost as well known as his playing career, at least within the volleyball world. On December 31st, 2022, he posted on Instagram that he'd married Sarina Koga. If you don't follow women's volleyball, Sarina Koga was the captain of the Japan women's national team. So you've got Japan's biggest male volleyball star married to the captain of the women's squad. Volleyball World actually called them the VNL power couple. Their joint announcement: "We are pleased to announce that we, Yuji Nishida and Sarina Koga, are now married." In July 2025, they announced they were expecting their first child. The baby arrived around December 2025. Nishida posted on Instagram, "Our baby arrived safely into the Nishida family, full of energy. Both mother and child are doing well." And this is worth mentioning in a career breakdown because it connects directly to what he did next with the national team. The 2025 break and Osaka Bluteon. After the 2024 Paris Olympics, Nishida made a call that caught a lot of people off guard. He stepped away from the national team for the year. 2 reasons: a chronic injury he needed to let heal, and wanting to be around more for his family. In an interview with Number magazine, he said, quote, "As for my future involvement with the Japanese national team, I have decided to take a year off. That said, I'm not planning on taking it easy." His name stayed on the roster in April 2025, but it was basically a safety net. He told coach Laurent Tilly to keep him listed just in case of an emergency, but he had no plans to play. When the 2025 FIVB Men's World Championship rolled around, Nishida was officially listed as on leave for family matters. But here's what's interesting. He wasn't sitting at home doing nothing. At the club level, big changes were happening. Panasonic Panthers had rebranded as Osaka Bluteon ahead of the inaugural V.League season in 2024 to 2025. And in August 2025, the team announced Nishida as their captain for the 2025 to 2026 season. So while the national team was competing without him, he was still out there putting up numbers. Through 44 matches in the 2025 to 2026 V.League season, his stat line looks like this: 651 total points, an average of 14.80 per match, 535 attack points at a 50.81% attack efficiency, 59 block points. Those numbers are among the best in the league. He also showed up at the Club World Championship in December 2025 with Osaka Bluteon, put up 52 total points across 5 matches at 45% attack efficiency against international club competition. The GOAT debate. Let's be honest. All right, let's do this. The GOAT question. Is Yuji Nishida the greatest volleyball player of all time? The argument in his favor is real. You're looking at one of the most physically gifted players this sport has produced. A vertical jump of roughly 110 centimeters at 186 centimeters tall. Left-handed power hitting from the opposite position. Serves over 120 kilometers per hour. A VNL serving record. Best opposite and best server at the World Cup when he was 19. V.League MVP and champion at 20. A Red Bull athlete with a global following that reaches way past the volleyball community. And there's something else. He plays volleyball in a way that makes people who've never watched the sport before stop what they're doing. That counts for something. He's drawn attention to men's volleyball, especially in Asia, in a way that very few players in history have managed. But if we're going to have this conversation honestly, we need to look at the other side too. Stack Nishida's resume against the names that usually come up in GOAT debates, guys like Karch Karai or Wilfredo Leon, and you'll notice what's missing. He doesn't have an Olympic medal. No World Championship. Japan finished 7th at both Tokyo and Paris. The 2024 VNL silver was a huge moment for Japan, but it's not the same as Olympic gold or a World Championship title. And this isn't just my take. Back in November 2024, somebody posted on Reddit, "The best player in history is Yuji Nishida." The responses were all over the place. One that stood out was, quote, "Nishida's accomplishments, with a good team, are pale compared to an actual GOAT, say Karch or Wilfredo Leon." It's a fair point. Volleyball is a team sport. Nishida has never been on a team that was the clear best in the world. And that's not all on him. Japan is still building. But in GOAT conversations, the full picture matters. Where I think the argument does hold up is this. Nishida might be the most talented and most watchable opposite hitter playing right now. And he's only 26. He already has the resume we just walked through, and there's still time. He took 2025 off from the national team. If he comes back healthy, if he's motivated, if Japan keeps getting better, the next few years might be where he fills in the gaps. The big team trophies. The medals that would put the GOAT debate to rest one way or another. What's next? So where does Yuji Nishida stand right now? May 2026, captain of Osaka Bluteon, putting up some of the best numbers in the V.League. A new father, 26 years old. And for a volleyball player, 26 means you're walking into your prime, not walking away from it. Most guys at this level peak somewhere between 26 and 32. The question everyone wants answered. Does he come back to the national team? He said the break was for 1 year. There's been noise about a return. If Japan can put together a complete roster for the next big international cycle, Nishida could still add the team-level trophies that his resume is missing. Let's run through it one more time. Started playing at 4, pro at 17, national team at 18, VNL serving record at 19, World Cup Dream Team, best opposite, best server at 19. V.League champion and MVP at 20, Tokyo Olympics at 21, Italian SuperLega at 21, VNL bronze at 23, VNL silver at 24, Paris Olympics at 24, club captain at 25, and this V.League season? 651 points in 44 matches with over 50% attack efficiency at 26. That's the career. Whether you think he's the greatest of all time or one of the greatest of his generation, there's one thing that's tough to argue with. When Yuji Nishida is on the court, you watch. Every serve might be an ace. Every swing might end up on a highlight reel. And every time he leaves the ground, you're reminded that height isn't everything in this sport. How high you can get off the floor, how hard you can swing, how badly you want it, that stuff matters just as much, maybe more. At 26, with the way he's been playing, this story isn't close to finished. Thanks for watching. Drop a comment and tell me where you put Nishida in the all-time rankings. If you liked this breakdown, subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.